sure you're extremely tired. It's 5 a.m., but I bet you wake up real quick, okay? Your daughter, the girl you love, is screaming. Okay, you're the dad there. What you going to do if that happened in your house? Might be a good topic at lunch today to discuss and do that, okay? Joe's not a believer. I said, Joe, what did you do? He said, I rushed that kid. I ran straight for him. 2 bullets to the stomach. I said, what'd you do, Joe? He said, I kept going. And he kept going. He tackled that kid. He said, we were wrestling on the floor. He said, it was extremely bloody. The kid slipped out of my hands. He got up. He ran out of the house. The police finally showed up and caught him. That's why you have to remember that police and fire, they're not the first responders. You're the first responder, right? It's your house, right? It's your kids, right? We're the first responder. They're the second responder. And you never know how long it's going to take because things can happen and stuff, okay? Joe told me he was laying on the floor in the bloody mess, and he said, wait a minute. He said, where's my wife at? He gets up, he goes to the front door, opens the front door. His wife is laying face down in the snow, shot and killed. The gunman was waiting behind the bushes, shot and killed the wife, came to the back of the house, and that's how the rest of the encounter played out. Joe looked at me and said, always remember, conversations go what? They go both directions. So we're at a good point. Okay? Even if I can't answer his question, we'll teach you tonight what to do if you can't answer the question. It's really simple, but we're at a good point because he's asking the questions. We're actually at a very good point here, okay? He said, Mark, I got a question for you. I said, sure, Joe. He said, Mark, how can there be a God with my wife who is dead and this man who's alive in prison in Ohio? How can there be a God? Legitimate question, yes or no? Yes. That's legit where I come from. That's totally legit. Bingo. We start talking back and forth. He had all these great questions, and you and I got all these great what? Answers, right? We just have to meet the questions because we're talking back. It's just a really good time. I finally said this to Joe, do you like to read? It's a question I use all the time. And I said, Joe, do you like to read? He said, no, I don't. So I gave him one of my books. I don't give up easy. And I signed it for him. I gave it to him. When we landed in Wichita, Kansas, he was 55 pages into the book. He looked at me and said, Mark, this has really helped me answer my questions. So there we go again. That world's got questions. You and I got what? Answers, but we have to meet them. It might be a waiter or waitress today. It might be the hostess at your place. It might be that relative you're going to call this afternoon and blow the trumpet for the first time in years with them and do that, okay? But we just have to meet these people and do that, okay? We get to the end of the flight. Joe shook my hand twice, thanking me for the conversation. Don't assume people don't want to chat with you. I assume you do want to chat with me. The reason I make the assumption is because you live in the same crazy world that I live in right now. This world's crazy. This is crazy and getting crazier in our world. Okay, what is going on? Well, we know what's going on. We're a day closer to Jesus Christ coming back than yesterday, right? Another day closer tomorrow. And so I just know that they're asking questions. We got to help them with the questions, right? So we're talking back and forth. And then all of a sudden Joe said, oh, by the way, Mark, he said, this happened 20 years ago. And he had to see the look on my face because the way he was talking, I thought it happened when? Basically yesterday. Now I understood the silence because he wasn't telling me a story. He had to relive the encounter one more time about him getting shot and his wife being killed. And that's what his hesitation was. It makes total sense once I got to the end there. He said, Mark, my biggest fear is that this man got a 30-year prison sentence and it happened 20 years ago. My biggest fear is he's going to get out of jail in 10 years and come after who? Yeah, not him. Yeah, his daughter, that's right. And one thing you learn quick in life is you don't mess with the guys' girls. You don't mess with their wives, their daughters, and their nieces and all that stuff. You just don't mess with the guys' girls and do that, okay? This man had no peace. He had such zero peace, but we just shared with him one more time the Prince of Peace, okay? So remember when you have a trumpet, did I need to yell and scream at Joe because he wasn't a believer? Did I need to beat him over the head with my Bible because he wasn't a believer? No, I just need to chat with Joe. We just had a simple conversation, planted some good seeds there, and now it's between him and Joe, between God and Joe, what happens. Does Joe get to heaven because his wife was shot and killed? No, he gets to heaven when he gets born again and saved. But if I care about people, I need to care about the Joes of the world and do that. Okay, so I've written a couple books. The book, One Thing You Can't Do in Heaven, a lot of you have that one. And then a lot of people like this talk, so we did a book called The Watchman. So One Thing You Can't Do in Heaven, The Watchman. Great books if you want to be bolder and sharing your faith in Jesus Christ, okay? So this has this talk. People like this. We just fleshed it out into a book and a bunch of other stuff. But in this book, the story about Joe is in this book, The Watchman. Herschel Walker, remember Herschel Walker, the great football player? I got to witness him one time. He's in the book. Kanye West, the musical artist, he's in the book. I ran into him in Atlanta at something, and threw a question out there. Bingo, we had a 15-minute talk on the topic of God and Jesus Christ. Why? I want to see him in heaven one day. I just need to invite him to come, right? It's his choice to do with the invitation, correct? He can throw the invitation on the ground or do what he wants to. My job is to invite people to come and do that, okay? How many people in here have lost people that you're trying to reach for Jesus Christ? Have lost people you're trying to reach? Oops, let's try again. How many people have lost people you're trying to reach for Jesus Christ? It should be all of us, right? How many people have immediate family members that aren't born again? Say immediate family. Okay, me too. Someone asked me, would you write a book to lost people since you spend so much time with them? So we wrote this book, One Heartbeat Away. Now, Christians love this book because it's full of apologetics, but we geared it specifically for lost people. How do you prove there's a God? Whole chapter on creation and evolution. How do you prove the Bible is true? Walk you right through the 10 Commandments, leave you right at the cross, decide what you want to do. We've had atheists read this book, get born again and saved. We've had Muslims read this book, get born again and saved. We had a Catholic nun read this book, get born again and saved. Jeff Foxworthy, the comedian, he actually called me one day, left me a message on my phone, and he said, Mark Kayla, I just read your book, One Heartbeat Away. He said, you got my wheel spinning. He said, I need 20 copies for my buddies. Here's my number, here's my address, please get a hold of me. Well, he lives in Atlanta. I drove him one day, and real nice, real humble, down to earth. But he had gotten saved, but now he wants all his buddies to get saved, right? So he's planting a seed in everybody's life that's in his inner circle, making sure they get saved as well, because that's what you do as believers. You care about the souls that are around you. I got an email a couple years ago from a 89-year-old World War II vet. He made the fatal error of putting his phone number in the email, so I called him back. But he said, I was in a VA hospital when I picked up this book, One Heartbeat Away. It was sitting on a table. He said, well, it's on the table. I guess I can take it. So he took it home with him. And 89-year-old World War II vet, machine gunner, Battle of the Bulge. Okay? I got history on the telephone. I told my mom, I just picked his brain for a while, man. That was really exciting. But he picked up this book. He told me on the telephone, he said, Mark, he said, I picked up this book, One Heartbeat Away. I've now read it a time and a half through. He said, I have 300 years of Catholicism in my family, 300 years. I read this book and I now finally realize it's Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ alone for the salvation of my soul. Nothing else, okay? It nailed this guy. He said, you got anything else to read? My mind is sharp as a tack. Don't you love older people? I love older people. My mind is sharp. I've written a few other books. So I sent him all my stuff. He emailed me again about a month later. Mark, I've read this book 3 times through front to back. Mark, I'm telling everybody I possibly can about Jesus Christ. So this guy literally went from Saul to Paul up in Ohio. He's just reaching all these people for Christ. I don't know how the book got to a VA hospital, but that's what you do. You just plant seeds out there, and you just see what God does with that and do that, okay? We have one guy in Ohio. He's an eye doctor. And he wrote me, he said, Mark, I don't want my patients just to physically see, I want them to what? Spiritually see, okay? So in his office, every room has a rack in there. And it's got the Bible, my first book, and my second book sitting on the rack. He told me, he walks into the offices of the people, he said, over 50% of the time, someone's reading one of the 3 books. So he witnesses to them, does his doctor stuff, and then just gives them whatever book that he had. He emailed me last time, he said, Mark, I've already gone through 2,000 of your books. I need 1,500 more. So you would not believe what's going on in this doctor's office. He said, we're having church every Monday, every Tuesday. Okay? So if you own a business, run your business from a Christian perspective. Is that right? Yeah, reach your customers. I have a doctor in Birmingham. He takes my books, he puts them on the table in the waiting room. He puts little stickers on the side of the book that says, please steal me. Okay? Please steal me. He wants the books walking out. I've actually heard from customers of his who went to go get doctor stuff. They picked up the book, took it home and read it, and got a hold of the ministry. So I got to tell Dr. Vaughn what happened. Okay? And then the other book over there is Paradise. It's actually a novel. It's basically One Heartbeat Away in a novel form. It's a really cool book. You read it in 1 or 2 settings. But this book has all those near-death experiences in it. People are so intrigued. So we actually put it into a book form and do that. This is great for lost people. I had a lady tell me today, how did you get so much apologetics into one novel? Well, that was our goal. Was this guy seeking and searching. He's trying to find answers, but he needs truth, and we have the truth. So, good thing for your notes, always remember to be a leader, you got to be a reader. Very, very important. To be a leader, you got to be a reader. Okay, so one thing I always tell young people and adults as well, one, shut your phones off. Shut your phones off. Anybody remember when we didn't even have cell phones? We survived, right? We survived. Now that whole little thing controls our life and how to do that, okay? The other thing I always tell people is that shut your TVs off. TVs just suck our time. I got rid of television 20 years ago. I haven't had a TV in 20 years. And I've had plenty of time to read a ton of books. I've written 6 books. And if I had a television, I wouldn't have got half of that done. Okay? I'm not legalistic about it. I turned on the TV last night when I got to the hotel and checked a couple scores out and stuff. So I'm not legalistic about it. But be careful. It's your time, right? And you want to use your time wisely for the Lord. Okay? So as you walk out, there's a table and stuff with books for you there. I'm very different. I don't charge for anything. It's just donation. You just take whatever you want, give whatever you want. That's how the ministry runs. So just take it. A few extra for friends or relatives or something for a waiter or waitress today. You just take it. Just give whatever you desire to do. If you're a visitor, please take something off the table, a book or DVD at no charge. Just make sure you read it or watch it. If you're not saved and you're here today, make sure you take a free copy of One Heartbeat Way of Paradise. And make sure you read it and make a decision, because that's all we can do as Christians is blow the trumpet between you and the Lord, what you do with it. Okay? So does that make sense? Everything's on the table. Just take what you want, give what you want. But I go one step further. If anybody in the room has a financial need, not a want, a need, you know the difference. You can actually reach on the box on the table and take out of the box. We allow people to take out of the box as well. I started doing this, 8 or 9 years ago, and we've just heard the craziest stories from that little box over there. I was at a church in Indianapolis, and a guy walked up to me afterwards. He said, "Sir, can I take $20 out of the box for gas?" I said, "Sure, don't ask me, just go ahead and take it if you have need." I said, "Sure, you can take it." I said, "Why do you need gas?" He said, "I was driving past your church this morning, and my car ran out of gas, and I coasted it and landed in the church parking lot." So he was sitting out there in the church parking lot. He said, "Well, might as well go to church." I'm sitting in the parking lot. So he came in and sat in the back. And I told him he had a great day. He got God and gas all in the same day. It was a wonderful day. Do that. One time someone left me a note in the box. Don't leave me a note, but someone left me a note. And I was in Illinois, and this lady left a note. She said, "Hey, we're visitors to your church today, and we're missionaries to Uganda. Okay? And tomorrow we go back to Uganda, and we have this second bag. And they're charging us $200 for this second bag." Okay, that's called a rip-off, correct? That's a rip. Isn't the plane already going to Uganda? It's already going to Uganda. What do you mean I don't mind paying for it. That's a rip-off, right? Okay. She said, "Sir, this bag is all full of what? Bibles and gospel tracts. Sir, we do not have the $200 for this bag. Sir, we just reached in the box. We just took $200 out of the box, and we're going to get this literature all across Uganda. Thank you very much." Okay? Don't we serve a great God? We serve a wonderful God. Remember, I always tell people, you can't outgive the Lord, but are you even trying? Okay? Remember, Jesus said it's more blessed to give than to receive. Okay? In the book, The Watchman, I have a whole chapter on just giving, when I learned to be a biblical giver. I had a note underneath my door this morning from the lady who worked last night, Megan. And she's got 2 young kids and, working an hourly job. It's got to be tough. So I witnessed to her, gave her a book she likes to read, gave her a financial blessing. And she was absolutely blown away that somebody would walk in her hotel and do that. And she slid this really nice note into my door this morning that I read before I came here. And I just saw it in my room. I said, "Mark, thank you for not being stingy like you used to be as a lost guy. You couldn't have got a nickel out of me when I was a lost guy. Don't even waste your time." Okay, it couldn't have happened, okay? But I've learned to be a biblical giver because Jesus said it's more blessed to give than receive. And we need to emulate Jesus Christ in our world. Is that right? Yeah. All right, so we've learned that. So the seminar today is at 5 o'clock. Okay, so 5 to 7. I do these across the country. Typically 60 to 80% of the people from the church come back. I invite some other Christian friends. Just going to train you up how to do it. Real simple, tons of stories. Then at the end of it, we do a little Q&A time. So you can ask me how to witness to a certain type of person. What if you get a question, you've had this question, you didn't know how to answer. What if you get a question you're afraid to get? So the whole goal is by 7 o'clock, 7:05, we're all trained up better to reach the lost here in the U.S. and everywhere. Does that make sense? Make sense? Make sense? Okay. Time is precious. Okay? just spoke for an hour. A lot of people died in an hour. They took off onto the other side. They just stood in front of the throne of God. All right? What type of Christian would we be? What type of friend would we be if we let any of our friends or any strangers? The book of Acts, 80% of the book of Acts is one stranger witnessing to another stranger. Because they're all made in the image of God. But you want to go out and reach strangers? What type of person would I be if I don't care about that person's eternal soul? Watch how simple this is. Anybody in here glad someone told you about Jesus Christ? Anybody glad? Goodness gracious. I'm so glad I went to Auburn on a basketball scholarship because there were 4 college students waiting to tell me about Jesus Christ. 4 kids told me about Christ. One guy gave me a Bible. I never owned a Bible. I'm 20 years old, living in the deep South, never owned a Bible before. Okay, I'd love to research, love to study. Research, study, got saved at 25. I'm here in Orange, Texas. All these years later, because 4 college kids cared about this guy's soul. That's how simple it is. I'm so glad they cared about my soul. But make sure the favors returned, that people say, you cared about my soul as well. In the workplace, in school, okay, in school for you, college students back there, at a restaurant today. Okay, time is precious. Okay, use it very, very wisely for the Lord, okay, in the days to come. Let's pray. Father, thank you for just a wonderful chance to be here this morning. Thanks for the good attention of the people. Father, remind us you left us here with a purpose, and that's to seek and to save those who are lost, just like your Son, the Lord Jesus Christ. Father, remind us this isn't some special gift. Father, remind us if there was a fire in our house today, we would yell and scream and even run in there to get every kid we could out of that house. It's no different, Father. We're biblical watchmen. It's our job to blow the trumpet and warn the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. Warn this country. It is heading the wrong direction. And it's heading the wrong direction quick.